Hey everybody, this is Mag, aka McGee, and I'm bringing you some Sons of the Forest. Well, after I completed the video on the small cabin porch build, I remembered a couple of months ago, a gentleman, Matthias Jontas, commented, "How do you do the dormers with just one space between them?" Well, instead of leaving you lying in the dust, let's get into it. Okay now, the triple dormer roof build process. So, instead of putting a cabin base underneath, I'm just going to put a simple quarter log base up underneath. And your cabin is going to need to be a 5x7, a 1x7 for the porch, and a 4x7 for the actual cabin. So here we are with one log down. That's going to be 8 logs across with 7 gaps. So 1 gap, 2 gap, 3 gap, oops, come on, 4 gap, 5 gap, 6 gap, 7 gap. And that's 8 logs. Let's go ahead and connect it down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And like again, I said we're going to have that porch. Now don't put any cross logs in this because you want the porches underneath to stay open. And the cabin. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to go back a 7 across. 1. We are with 4 again. All right. So it is a 5x7, 4x1 with a 1x1 on the front. So for that porch, we've got a quarter log drop. Okay. And, oops, I forgot that corner. There we go. Let's go ahead and fill her in and drop her down. Okay. And you can put your poppers on. And it's been doing that to me every time I try to record this video. Is it just likes to some reason target that floor for some reason underneath. Yep, did it again. And there we are. Okay. Now, as for these gaps right here, don't fill them in yet. Wait, because sometimes we have an issue dropping logs down whenever these gaps are filled in, like so. So go ahead and wait to fill those gaps in. Now, let's put our floor in. I'm going to go this direction because it's only 4 logs long. And you can just support the underneath with no walls at all if you wanted. And also, as a builder, usually you want your flooring to kind of run into the room, like as if you're entering it, because with the length look, it actually makes a room look longer or wider. So you'd be entering a room this direction per se, and the floor would run that way. And again, the floor would run that way if you were entering that room. So, and the same goes for like if you're entering the front of your house, you would tend to have your flooring running the opposite direction. That way it looks longer and wider. So here we are with that part. And we're going to have a 3/4 drop. So if we had a full log right here, that does give us a 3/4 drop from there to there. But if you notice, you can't fill in that gap. So first you would have to start yourself with a quarter log right there. So let's go ahead and put our quarter on each side. And make the difference. And again, don't fill it in quite yet. We want to be able to drop a log down on that. So, but again, this is our 3/4. So let's go ahead and fill that 3/4 log. And if we want, we can also drop her down. All right. Now this is where the center one is going to be the issue. And it's only because the full walling or the three-quarter logging and trying to figure out when to get the game to actually, get it to adjust where it wants to do the cuts or not do a cut in just a stack. So here we are. This one here, we can full wall log it up and it will give us what we need here. Okay. And then this one here, we can also full wall log up. Oop, there we are. Because our issue comes from that center one. So let's go ahead and do both of these, okay, for instance, in a full wall with a three-quarter. And fill it up. Okay, put our roof in. And again, we can fill it on this one. There we go. This is the one that's always kind of the issue, right? Because we've got to have our drop down. Well, we know inside we are a full wall high or a full log high. Okay. We can even connect these all the way down. Alrighty. And this is the center one. So this one needs a drop down on the log. Well, we can drop it down and we can take a three-quarter log and stack it up in there to a full wall height. But we also say we want that log right there in the front. So before we do that, because it's going to try to lift it, right? We're going to have to temporarily stabilize it as a floor. Boom. And then we can get those logs in right there. Get them to your height. Lock it down. Go ahead and lock these in the back side down. And then you can take that three-quarter log, wherever she may have went, and you can stack it up to your height that you need. Come on. And then you can take these out because they're temps. And because that is a drop down and that is a full wall layer, you can put your flooring in. Or your roof in. Flooring, roof. And there we are. And that's how you get the space between them and everything. So, there we are, gonna continue out. And let's get some flooring down. Alright, there's some flooring. Now, the apex is gonna have to go back like another log to hide between it. So, get us a row of logs going along. Here is our apex. Connect that one. Connect that one, and we'll connect that one. That's just kind of keep us in the thing. And if you can, try to keep your arrows running in one direction. That way it will be considered a full beam. So, alright, right here we've got three-quarter log and a one-quarter log. So on my apexes, I like the three-quarter. And we'll just three-quarter all of those. And now we're going to throw a quarter log on top of those. Now, don't do your full log drop down just yet on that one. So I'm going to steal that. Yeah, don't do these drop downs quite yet on the back sides. Let them hang out for a moment. We can go ahead and do these front ones. Come on. Targeting issues. Yeah, don't do the drop downs quite yet because we're going to need to get into that socket right there. So, and the reason why we got to get into that socket is yeah, is for dropping a log down on top of it. So if something already exists, you can't drop a log down into it because it's already taken up, basically, the slot. So here we are. We got those in. Now, what I would say do is for our 3/4 log drop downs, it'll give it to you. It's a little finicky at first, but you could take that 3/4 log right here and it makes it a little bit easier. The true size. So there are 3/4 for the drop down. If we want, we can connect this full beam up here at the top. And now drop down our sluts, which of course allows us to fill all these in too. Oop, come on. Yep, there we go. And drop down. Let's fill her in. There we go. Now, once those are in, we can do these drop downs so that we can put our shingle roof topping onto our apexes. Oops, that's fine if that happens. You're going to be filling it in. But I'm just trying to target these for the moment. Yeah, get your drop downs. Oh, what did it do there? Yeah, there we go. And which one does it want to target? I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Oops, see? It wants to go wherever it wants to go. And 3, come on. Yeah, it's, I love it. There we go. So there's that. Then you would just be dropping her back down. On this other side. And this porch back here, of course, you know, it would have that. I keep it, whatchamacallit. But that's where I ended up having the porch that was on this back side come in. So when I had those, I was able to work a porch off of those and made a nice little scoop straight off into it for that cabin build. So, yeah. Triple dormers. Yeah. And that front wall and everything, I mean, there's a couple of ways you can go about it. You can take and just stack right off the top of these, and they can be kind of offset, but you would have to kind of remove that log up there, and you can't remove that log, right? But that's fine as long as this log is in and this log is in. You can get inside of your dormer, and you can remove that log, and then stack these all the way up full, and then you can take and reconnect it. It'll let you clean it. Oh, it's so finicky. There it is, boom. And then you can stick it back in there. And that way you can rinse and kind of repeat. Again. There we go. And the reason why I would put that one log back in there right here is because if you look up here at the top, it looks kind of like a gap, but whenever you have it filled in, it's, I don't know, a little bit more cleaner looking right there when you look up from the porch bottom. And then, of course, we don't want these in here, so let's take them into the abyss. Yeah, there we go. And of course, your knockouts for these. Oop. And there she is. Triple dormer roof. One space in between them. So, have any questions, comments, ideas, thoughts, anything like that? Just shoot down below, and until the next showcasing or building process or anything like that, I guess I'm off. So, till the next one. Goodbye.